Things are so interesting. Like astronauts eat this stuff. Like if you suck on it, you can rehydrate it in your mouth. Ni hao! Welcome back to another Celebrity Sweets. I'm Ethan, and this week, February 5th, marks the start of the Chinese New Year. Now, the Chinese New Year revolves around the lunar calendar, so like the moon cycles. So that's why they're celebrating their New Year in February, and not like January. Now, with each year, you also associate kind of a zodiac or an animal, and this year it's the year of the pig. But I don't have a pig, so we're going with last year's year of the dog. And one way you celebrate the Chinese New Year is to pass out these red envelopes to people you love, or your parents or grandparents gave them to you. And you usually fill them with like money or a note. Might have nothing in them. But today we are going to be making a treat inspired by these. And we're going to make a surprise inside cookie. And the cookie dough itself is also kind of going to be a surprise because we're going to make it using freeze-dried strawberries. And once we've rolled out our dough, we'll insert cute little notes that you can read and then eat. The ingredients for this recipe are 2 3/4 cups all-purpose flour, half a cup of granulated sugar, 2/3 cup of butter, 1 cup of freeze-dried strawberries, 1 large egg, 1/4 cup of honey, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and some red food coloring. Now, to make the notes that we're going to put inside, I found this sugar sheet paper, which is like the edible paper that you could eat, on Amazon, and I'll put a link to this one in the description below. The first thing we're going to do is actually crush our strawberries into like a fine powdery dust so that we can incorporate it into our dry ingredients. To do this, I've just got a big Ziploc bag and I'm just going to pour them in here, use my hands, maybe a rolling pin, whatever you'd like. You could also pop it in a food processor for like 3 seconds. The next thing we want to do is to mix together all of our dry ingredients. Now I just finished crushing our strawberries into their powder, and you're going to need about 1/4 cup of strawberry powder. But now in a small bowl, whisk together your flour, strawberry powder, baking powder, and salt. I've just set our dry ingredients off to the side, and now in a large bowl, we want to cream together our butter, sugar, and honey. We could be here a while. On high speed for about 1 minute. Next, we want to add in our egg, mix it up, and follow that by adding in your vanilla extract. Now, for the last ingredient we're going to add, it's going to be the red food coloring. Because while our freeze-dried strawberry powder is red, there's just not enough of it to completely dye our cookie a nice dark red. So we're just going to add a few drops of red food coloring and mix it up one last time. Our wet ingredients are dyed a nice bright red, and so are our dry ingredients. So now we can start to incorporate them together. Start by taking half of your dry, add it to the wet and mix it up. Then add the last half and mix it up. So our cookie dough has come together, and now what we want to do is divide it in half and wrap it in some plastic wrap. Now we want to take this dough and pop it into the fridge for up to 30 minutes to allow it to completely chill. So our dough has been chilling for about 30 minutes, and I'm just taking one out at a time. The first one we are going to roll out about 1/4 inch thick. I've just finished rolling out our dough, and to cut out our cookies, I've got a rectangle cookie cutter. And now we're just going to cut out a bunch of rectangles from our dough. So I just set our other cookies off to the side, and now we can work on the second batch of our cookie. And we're going to roll it out on a floured surface. Now again, with this cookie dough, we want to take our big rectangle and cut out as many as we can. However, this time we want to take a smaller rectangle, and we're actually going to make the cookie have an opening at the top. So take your rectangle and place it in the middle of your cookie and cut down. Both of our cookies are cut out, and now we can pop them into the oven at 350 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes. While our cookies are baking, we can start to work on the notes that we're going to put inside the cookies once they're cooled. To do this, I have our sugar sheets. I just have one right here. The small rectangle cookie cutter we used, and then an edible marker and some scissors. Start by taking your rectangle cookie cutter and edible marker and outline a bunch of rectangles on your paper. Then cut these out. Once you've cut out all of your little rectangles, now you can write your messages, whatever you'd like. We've just finished writing the messages onto our sugar paper, and now our cookies are cool, so we can start to assemble these. Over here I've got 3 rectangles and 3 U's, and I've also got some red royal icing. To assemble these, start by taking one of your rectangles and place it on the bottom. Then take one of your U's and using some royal icing, attach it to your rectangle cookie. Once you've stacked 2 of your cookies, we can now add in our messages. But when you're using sugar sheets, you want to make sure that you remove this protective kind of like plastic, because that's not edible. It's just the paper itself. Once you've added in your messages to your envelopes, now we can add on the top cookie. This is just the second rectangle, using some more royal icing. Now, the cool thing about red envelopes, besides like what you get inside, is the decoration on the outside. It's very intricate. It's kind of like scroll-like and lots of different characters. I'm not going to go this in-depth, but I am going to add a few more details to the outside. I'm going to start by taking my red royal icing and pipe a border around the entire cookie. Then fill it in and use a pick to get any of the air bubbles out. Then I'm going to take some yellow royal icing and pipe on some scroll-like details. And here we have them, our Chinese New Year inspired red envelope surprise inside cookies that we made today. We use freeze-dried strawberries in the cookie dough to give it a nice strawberry flavor. Using freeze-dried fruits adds natural color and also natural flavor to a cookie, so you could experiment with different things like blueberries or raspberries or whatever you'd like. We then stacked cookies on top of each other, and in the middle, just like a red envelope, there's a secret note. You can just pull it out, read it, put it back in maybe, or maybe it's so good you just want to take it and eat it. These are the perfect treat for anyone who is celebrating Chinese New Year, or just like me, who really just likes the culture, and it's a super creative take on a cookie. If you happen to make these, please share them with me on Instagram or Twitter. And if you have any other requests for another Celebrity Sweets, please leave it down in the comments below. Until next time, savor life and make it sweet. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, let me know by hitting that like button down below. And while you're at it, subscribe. You can do that by clicking this cute little donut right here. If you're looking for more content, up here is my newest video where I made some football-inspired treats. And down here is what YouTube thinks you should watch. That's all for today. I will see you guys this Thursday.